Clubs have blown over €1 billion on these transfers, and almost every cent went to waste. Some signings change a club's history for the better. They became cautionary tales. Overpriced, overhyped, and unforgettable for all the wrong reasons. We're diving into football's most expensive disasters. Players who arrived as saviors and left as punchlines. From stadium unveilings in front of 50,000 fans to goal records you could count on one hand, these deals shattered dreams and burned through fortunes. Billions spent, goals barely scored, and reputations destroyed. From £500,000 a week, ghosts, to golden boots that never delivered. Here are the 10 worst transfers in football history. And number 1, so bad, it's still a global meme today. 10. Joao Felix. In 2019, Atletico Madrid shattered their transfer record by spending a jaw-dropping €126 million on a 19-year-old Joao Felix. The hype was astronomical. He was marketed as the next Cristiano Ronaldo, Portugal's new wonder kid, who had lit up the Primeira Liga with Benfica. The expectation that he'd lead Atletico into a new era, blending flair with goals, and finally deliver a Galactico-level superstar for Diego Simeone's squad. The reality? Felix never truly fit into Simeone's rigid, defense-first system. Instead of being the creative heartbeat, he was often marooned on the wing or benched entirely. Despite flashes of brilliance, his numbers told the truth. Underwhelming goal and assist tallies that never justified the fee. Loan spells followed. Chelsea in 2023, Barcelona in 2023 to 2024. But while he occasionally showed his class, consistency remained elusive. 4 years after the record-breaking move, Felix is still searching for a permanent home, and Atletico are still wondering how a €126 million gamble went so wrong, but at least Joao Felix is still on the pitch. Number 9. He spent more time on the bench than in a starting 11. 9. Alexis Sanchez. When Manchester United signed Alexis Sanchez from Arsenal in January 2018, they didn't just land one of the Premier League's best wingers, they handed him one of the most outrageous contracts in football history. The deal? £500,000 per week, making him the highest-paid player in England at the time. United even rolled out a cringeworthy piano reveal video to announce his arrival, a PR stunt that aged like milk. On paper, it was a coup. Sanchez was electric at Arsenal, a relentless dribbler, tireless worker, and match winner. But in reality, his United career was a slow-motion car crash. He scored just 5 goals in 45 league games, never once looking like the player who terrorized defenses in North London. Injuries, tactical confusion, and a clear dip in confidence left him stranded. The worst part? His astronomical wages created a ripple effect in the dressing room, with teammates questioning why their underperforming teammate was paid so much more than anyone else. By 2019, United had seen enough. Sanchez was loaned to Inter Milan, who eventually signed him for free, ending one of the costliest flops in Premier League history. If $500K a week hurts, number 8's price tag was historic, for all the wrong reasons. 8. Kepa Arrizabalaga. In 2018, Chelsea shattered records by paying €80 million to Athletic Bilbao for Kepa Arrizabalaga, making him the most expensive goalkeeper in football history. At the time, Chelsea desperately needed a reliable number 1 after Thibaut Courtois' exit, and Kepa, Spain's promising young shot-stopper, was billed as the long-term solution. The reality was very different. Kepa's first season had moments of quality, but it was quickly overshadowed by inconsistency, questionable positioning, and a complete collapse in confidence. The infamous 2019 League Cup final incident, where Kepa refused to be substituted despite Maurizio Sarri's orders, became the defining image of his Chelsea career. By 2020, Chelsea had seen enough. They brought in Edouard Mendy, and Kepa found himself warming the bench for the majority of matches. His record-breaking transfer fee became a punchline among rival fans, and his stock plummeted on the international stage. In 2023, Kepa was loaned to Real Madrid after Thibaut Courtois suffered a serious injury. While he regained a starting role temporarily, the shadow of that €80 million fee still hangs over him. Proof that being the most expensive doesn't mean being the best. Number 7 also cost €80 million, but he didn't even make it as long as Kepa before the club moved on. 7. Nicolas Pepe. When Arsenal splashed €80 million on Nicolas Pepe from Lille in 2019, fans believed they were getting a game-changing winger. His record in League One was dazzling, 22 goals and 11 assists in the 2018-19 season, and he was expected to terrorize Premier League defenses with pace, flair, and a deadly left foot. The Premier League reality hit hard. Pepe struggled with the league's physicality and intensity, often disappearing in matches where Arsenal needed him most. While he produced occasional flashes of brilliance, free kick goals, dazzling dribbles, the consistency just wasn't there. Mikel Arteta's system demanded high work rate off the ball, something Pepe often failed to deliver. As younger, hungrier wingers like Bukayo Saka emerged, Pepe's role shrank rapidly. By 2022, Arsenal had sent him on loan to Nice, and in 2023, they terminated his contract altogether. The €80 million signing became one of Arsenal's most expensive and forgettable transfers, a painful reminder that League One stats don't always translate to Premier League success. Number 6 wasn't a winger or a forward. He was supposed to dominate midfields for a decade. Instead, he left for free. 6. Paul Pogba. In 2016, Manchester United pulled off what was billed as the ultimate homecoming, smashing the world transfer record to bring Paul Pogba back from Juventus for €105 million. United fans were convinced they were getting a midfield general who would dominate the Premier League for the next decade. Pogba's swagger, passing range, and highlight reel goals made him one of the most marketable players in the game. And for a time, he delivered. Moments like his brace against Manchester City in 2018 or his starring role in France's 2018 World Cup triumph showed exactly why he was valued so highly. But those moments were the exception, not the rule. Injuries began to pile up, keeping Pogba out for long stretches. When he was on the pitch, his form was wildly inconsistent, often sparking debates about whether he was being misused or simply lacked the discipline to control games week in, week out. Off the field, cryptic social media posts, agent drama, and constant transfer rumors overshadowed his football. By 2022, the fairy tale had turned into farce. Pogba's contract expired, and he left for free, heading straight back to Juventus, the club United had paid over €100 million to buy him from. His return stands as one of football's most expensive circles, and one of Manchester United's biggest modern mistakes. Number 5 somehow tops that. A club broke the bank to bring a player back, then shipped him out almost immediately. 5. Romelu Lukaku. When Chelsea re-signed Romelu Lukaku from Inter Milan in 2021 for €115 million, it was supposed to be the missing piece in their attack. Lukaku had just fired Inter to a Serie A title with 24 goals and looked every bit the complete striker, powerful, clinical, and confident. Chelsea fans hoped the Belgian's second stint at Stamford Bridge would erase memories of his underwhelming first spell. But within months, cracks appeared. Lukaku's touch deserted him. His movement seemed labored, and he never quite fit into Thomas Tuchel's system. The turning point came with that infamous Sky Italia interview, where Lukaku openly admitted he wasn't happy at Chelsea and hinted about returning to Inter. The fallout was immediate, fans were furious, Tuchel benched him, and his relationship with the club soured. After just one season, Chelsea cut their losses and loaned him back to Inter. The €115 million solution had become a very expensive round trip, and Lukaku's Chelsea return now sits alongside Pogba's as a cautionary tale about romantic reunions in football. Number 4's transfer fee was massive, but his body gave up on him even faster than his club did. 4. Ousmane Dembele. In 2017, Barcelona had just lost Neymar to PSG for a world record €222 million. The club needed a new superstar to fill the void, fast. Their answer? Ousmane Dembele, signed from Borussia Dortmund for a staggering €145 million, including add-ons. At the time, Dembele was one of the most electrifying young players in Europe, a winger with both feet, dazzling pace, and an ability to embarrass defenders. But from the moment he arrived, his Barcelona career seemed cursed. Just weeks into his debut season, he tore his hamstring, and that injury was the first of many. Over the next 5 years, Dembele became less of a forward and more of a permanent resident in the medical room, racking up over a dozen separate injuries. His rhythm, confidence, and fitness were constantly disrupted, making consistency almost impossible. When he was fit, he could still produce magic, but those moments were rare. And for €145 million, rare wasn't good enough. Fans grew frustrated, pundits questioned his professionalism, and Barcelona's finances groaned under the weight of his salary. By 2023, Dembele's Barcelona chapter ended quietly. He joined PSG, where ironically, he's enjoying a revival and showing the form that convinced Barcelona to spend big in the first place. But for the Catalan club, the damage was done. Dembele remains one of the most expensive and frustrating gambles in football history. Number 3 cost even more, and the only time he truly lit up the pitch was by humiliating his own team. 3. Philippe Coutinho. In January 2018, Barcelona dipped into their Neymar windfall again, this time to lure Philippe Coutinho from Liverpool for an eye-watering 160 million euros. At Anfield, Coutinho had been a magician, a player who could score from distance, split defenses with laser passes, and decide games on his own. Barcelona believed he'd be the creative heartbeat of their next great team. Reality hit hard. Coutinho never looked comfortable at Camp Nou. Playing alongside Lionel Messi often meant being reduced to a supporting role, and his trademark long-range shots rarely found the net in Spain. His confidence evaporated, and by 2019, Barcelona loaned him out to Bayern Munich in the hope he'd rediscover his form. Instead, Coutinho delivered the most awkward highlight of his career, scoring 2 goals against Barcelona in Bayern's infamous 8-2 demolition in the Champions League. It was the ultimate self-inflicted wound. The player they'd spent 160 million euros on had just helped humiliate them on the biggest stage. After Bayern declined to sign him permanently, Coutinho returned to Barcelona but never regained his spark. In 2022, he was sold to Aston Villa for a fraction of his original fee, a quiet end to one of the most expensive miscalculations in football. Number 2 might just be the priciest retirement plan in football history. Second, Eden Hazard. When Eden Hazard left Chelsea for Real Madrid in 2019, the deal was worth 115 million euros, and the hype was off the charts. Madrid had just lost Cristiano Ronaldo, and Hazard was billed as the man to lead the post-Ronaldo era. The Bernabeu welcomed him with open arms, 50,000 fans packing the stadium for his unveiling. He even took the iconic number 7 shirt, a gesture loaded with symbolism and pressure. Then came the first twist. Hazard showed up to preseason overweight. The Spanish press pounced. Memes flooded the internet, and that was just the start. Within months, an ankle fracture sidelined him, and what followed was a relentless cycle of injuries: hamstring pulls, muscle strains, knocks that never seemed to heal. Across 4 seasons, Hazard managed fewer than 80 appearances and scored just 7 goals in all competitions. Madrid fans went from hopeful to frustrated to resigned. Instead of dazzling dribbles and game-winning moments, they got brief cameos and long absences. By 2023, Hazard and Madrid agreed to part ways a year early. Months later, at just 32 years old, he announced his retirement. No farewell tour, no grand send-off. For a player once considered among the world's best, it was a stunningly quiet ending. Hazard didn't just fail to live up to his price tag, he vanished. Tease. And number 1, a flop so famous it became a meme worldwide. 1. Fernando Torres. In January 2011, Fernando Torres was one of the hottest strikers in the world. Liverpool's talisman, Spain's Euro and World Cup hero, and a nightmare for Premier League defenders. Chelsea decided they had to have him and paid a then British record £50 million, 58 million euros, to get him. It should have been a match made in heaven. Instead, Torres' Chelsea debut was a disaster, and it never got much better. He looked short of pace, short of confidence, and completely out of rhythm. His most infamous moment came against Manchester United. Clean through on goal, the keeper beaten, and somehow Torres missed an open net. That clip went viral instantly, becoming one of football's most enduring memes. Over 3.5 seasons, he scored just 20 league goals, barely more than some strikers manage in a single campaign. Eventually, Chelsea let him leave for free. Yes, he did win trophies at Stamford Bridge, including the Champions League, but his personal output never came close to matching the fee. Torres' Chelsea stint is a reminder. Sometimes the fall from the top can be as spectacular as the rise. Some transfers win trophies, these just won the title of the worst ever. From 160 million euros creative flops to £500,000 a week ghosts. This list proves one thing: money doesn't buy success. Across these 10 names, clubs spent billions chasing dreams that never materialized, ending up with injuries, memes, and contracts they couldn't wait to get rid of. They're more than just expensive mistakes. They're cautionary tales for every club, player, and fan. A big transfer fee might bring headlines, but it doesn't guarantee passion, consistency, or the hunger to win. In the end, football is still about what you do on the pitch, not what you cost off it. So we'll leave it to you. Which of these transfers do you think was the absolute worst? And are there any disasters we left out? Subscribe and drop your picks in the comments for football's most infamous flops, because we all know there are plenty more where these came from.